What's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? So I usually go live with the power rankings every week, but I got caught up with work last night, so I got to record them now. So let's get to the 20th edition of the power rankings. So here they were from last week. Rounding out the top 5, we had the Dodgers, Astros, Mets, Braves, Cardinals, and in the top, rounding out the top 10, we had the Blue Jays, Yankees, Mariners, Rays, and the Padres. There is some movement here in the top 10, so let's get to it here. Starting off at number 30, we got the Washington Nationals. Not a whole lot going on with the Washington Nationals. Lost 2 out of 3 to the Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins this past week. But Joey Meneses, he's having a really fun year. And, hey, man, this guy, he's been in the minor leagues his entire career. But it's really fun to see what he's doing this year. Man, great numbers. Had a home run on Sunday. That was his 12th home run of the year. Joey Meneses, man, been a really fun player for the Nationals this year. Coming in at number 29, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates. Lost both to the Yankees this past week, 2 out of 3 to the Chicago Cubs, but they did pick up Miguel Andujar off of waivers. Finally, Miguel Andujar just playing somewhere else. It's about time. Hopefully Miguel Andujar maybe can find a role with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Maybe he could be with them next year. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Coming in at number 28, we got the Oakland A's. Not a terrible week for the Oakland A's, winning 2 out of 3 against the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners, hey, they're trying to secure a wild card spot right now. So the fact that you're losing to the Oakland A's 2 out of 3, that is no bueno. But they also lost 2 out of 3 to the New York Mets. The offense recently with the Oakland A's, not too bad. 11th overall with a 107 WRC plus over the last 7 days. So, hey, give it up for Oakland, man. They're playing pretty well. But other than that, not a whole lot going on. At number 27, we have the Cincinnati Reds. They split with my Red Sox in a 2-game series. Then they lost 3 out of 4 to the Milwaukee Brewers. But right now, it's all about the young players. I mean, just like these other teams as well. But it's all about the young players right now with the Cincinnati Reds. Nick Lodolo continues to pitch really well this year, having a very good rookie season. And also Spencer Steer, a game-winning home run against the Milwaukee Brewers over the weekend. Hey, man, Cincinnati, they got some pretty fun young players. I'm excited to see what they can do in the future. Coming in next, rounding out the bottom tier, we have the Miami Marlins, losing 2 out of 3 to the Chicago Cubs, winning 2 out of 3 against the Washington Nationals. Sandy Alcantara, 11 strikeouts over 8 innings on Saturday. It's always fun to see what that guy's doing on the mound. But the big story with the Marlins, Don Mattingly not returning for next year. I do feel like, the Marlins, they made some moves in the offseason. They spent some money. They brought in some bats. I like some of the pieces they brought in, like a Jorge Soler. You brought in a Joey Wendell. You brought in a Jacob Stallings as well. In the end, just the Marlins, I just feel like they need some new kind of direction here. Don Mattingly, he's done a okay job over the last however many years he's been with the Marlins. What is it, like 5, 7? I can't remember how many. But I just do think it is time for a new voice. Maybe someone a little younger. I would imagine if you're going to go from Don Mattingly, I would imagine you're going to go a different route. Someone younger, maybe a new kind of a manager. I think they just need a new voice in that locker room. I think they just need someone different, running the ship. But Don Mattingly, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. There are some manager vacancies out there. We're going to have the Rangers. Maybe the Rangers go after him? Maybe if the Yankees decide to cut ties with Aaron Boone, could he go to the Yankees? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But Don Mattingly, he'll be an interesting candidate for a manager position in the offseason. Going on to the next tier, we have the Detroit Tigers winning 2 out of 3 against the Baltimore Orioles and sweeping the Chicago White Sox. We'll talk about the White Sox here in just a little bit. But the Tigers playing some pretty good baseball. And actually, if we take a look at Fangraphs, 10th in offense over the last 7 days. Not doing too shabby. If we go take a look at some of these guys here, Heimer Candelario, he is just out of his mind, hitting 500 over his last 4 games. Harold Castro's hitting really well. Look at Akil Baddoo lighting it up here, hitting 294 with a 368 on base and a homer and 4 RBIs over his last 7 games. Hey, disappointing season for the Detroit Tigers, but it's nice to see that they're playing well near the end of the season. And Riley Green, man, this guy just keeps making catches left and right. Are you kidding me? Going on to number 24, we have the Colorado Rockies. Not a whole lot going on here with the Rockies. Last week, I had the Rockies at was that number? That is 16, 17, 18. They were 19th last week, so they're dropping quite a ways. Not a good week. They were swept by the Giants, lose 2 out of 3 to the Padres. Chris Bryant shut down for the rest of the season. He says he's excited to play next year. And also Bud Black expected to return next year. I'm waiting to see what the Rockies are going to do this offseason. I'm sure they got to move up their sleeves. But it'd be interesting to see where the Rockies are at for next year. At number 23, we have the Kansas City Royals. Huge comeback versus the Mariners on Sunday. Holy cow, they were down 11-2 in that game. My goodness, this offense lately with Kansas City, they are just out of their minds. They are 4th overall in offense over the last 7 days. Vinny Pasquantino hitting .450 over his last 6. Salvador Perez hitting over .400. Drew Waters over his last few games hitting really well. Bobby Witt Jr. hitting really well. A lot of offense from the Kansas City Royals. And but the big story with the Kansas City Royals, Dayton Moore, president of baseball operations, fired. I mean, this guy did a lot for the Kansas City Royals, man, making it to back-to-back World Series, winning a World Series. So the fact that they're going to go with a new guy, it'll be different in Kansas City, but it sounds like, we're talking about with Don Mattingly. They need a new voice. So let's see what direction the Kansas City Royals go in. At number 22, we have the Texas Rangers, winning 2 out of 3 against the Angels, but then they were man, I need to go to sleep. They were swept by Cleveland. Not really a whole lot going on with Texas, man. Corey Seager, Semien, they've been hitting, but that's pretty much it with the Texas Rangers. At number 21, we got the Chicago Cubs. Hey, good bullpen with the Chicago Cubs over the last week. 4th overall with a 2.12 ERA, 3.48 FIP. Man, the Cubs, I know they got rid of a lot of guys at the deadline, guys like Scott Efros and Chris Martin, but the bullpen continues to perform really well. Really like what the Cubs are doing out of that bullpen. Winning 2 out of 3 against the Marlins and 3 out of 4 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Not a bad week for the Chicago Cubs. And coming in at number 20, starting off the next tier, we have the LA Angels losing 3 out of 4 to the Dodgers and 2 out of 3 to the Giants. Oh, wait, no, I'm reading the wrong one. What the heck am I talking about? Sorry about that. I am jumping ahead to the next team by accident here. The Angels. My goodness, the Angels. Mike Trout, Ohtani. Sunday's game, they went 5 for 9. I mean, hey, it's Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Those guys are going to keep doing their thing. Mike Trout had his 37th homer yesterday, but that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot of winning this past week with the Angels. They lost their finale to the Mariners. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Texas Rangers, but they did win 2 out of 3 against the Twins over the weekend. So not bad overall for the LA Angels. Coming in now, I can talk about this next team. At number 19, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks losing 3 out of 5 to the Dodgers, 2 out of 3 to the Giants. Bullpen has been really good lately, 6 in relief pitching over the last 7 days. Zach Gallen continues to pitch well. Gotta love what Zach Gallen's doing this year. And also, Drew Jameson is looking pretty good lately. Look out for Drew Jameson. This could be a guy in the rotation for the Diamondbacks next year. He's had a couple pretty good starts. At number 18, we got my Red Sox. My goodness, my Red Sox stink. Just got swept by the Yankees. Rained out last night. They split with the Reds as well. One bright spot is, Brian Bayo over his last couple of starts, only giving up 2 earned runs over his last 11 innings pitched. Tristan Casas with a couple of homers this week. Rafael Devers is hitting pretty well. But other than that, not a whole lot going on with my Red Sox. At number 17, we have the Minnesota Twins. My goodness, the Twins have just completely fallen off. 2-8 in their last 10. This year, they just did not have enough offensively and with the pitching, not enough depth. They had injuries this year. Byron Buxton actually getting knee surgery now. I was hoping that guy could make it for a whole year without having to get something done. But the Twins just completely fell off. I do think that division was pretty weak. I mean, it is still pretty weak, honestly. We'll talk about the Cleveland Guardians here in just a little bit, but it was not the strongest division, especially in the first half, and I think the Twins took advantage of that in the end. With the Guardians heating up, I just think the Twins, the lights went out in Minnesota. At number 16, we have the Chicago White Sox. Last week, the White Sox, I had them at number 14, and you know what? They were still in a decent position, but they have just completely fallen off the tracks here. Taking a look here at the American League Central. We'll talk about the Guardians here in just a little bit, but they clinched. They are the AL Central champions. The White Sox, man, 3-7 in the last 10. They lost 6 straight. They just completely I don't know what the heck happened with the Chicago White Sox. I mean, this was a talented team coming into this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if that's like a culture thing in the clubhouse. I don't know if there's just bad chemistry going on. I do think Tony La Russa was not really the right guy for the job, but in the end, what can you do? The White Sox, just an extremely disappointing year. Coming in at number 15, starting off the top 15, we got the San Francisco Giants playing well lately. 6-4 in their last 10, 6-1 on their road trip last week, sweeping the Rockies, winning 2 out of 3 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Best bullpen last 7 days. Take a look at the San Francisco Giants just doing their thing out of that bullpen. A 1.43 ERA, 2.77 FIP over their last 7 days. And they got a lot of different guys just contributing. I mean, look at how many guys are putting up zeros here. Shelby Miller, Camilo Duvall, Jarlin Garcia, Scott Alexander. I mean, my goodness, they're just getting a lot of contributions in that bullpen. You got to love it. The Giants will have to wait and see what they do in the offseason. Hey, maybe Aaron Judge? Possibly. We'll have to wait and see. At number 14, we got the Baltimore Orioles. Hey, fun team this year. They're not completely out of it. If we go take a look at the wild card here, that's not the wild card. Taking a look at the wild card, not completely out of it. They've lost a couple in a row here, but there's still only 4 out. Seattle, the fact that they've been struggling, that's kept Baltimore in this race. Could we see a crazy ending to the season? I would think the Mariners are going to be able to hang on here, but we're just going to have to wait and see, man. But Baltimore, they have, like I said, they have not really been playing all that great. Lost the last 2 heading into this week. Lost 2 out of 3 to Detroit. They did split with the Astros, so give them that. I mean, the Astros are a good team, man. So splitting with the Astros, that's not too shabby. They're kind of just playing middle-of-the-road baseball right now. 14th in offense over the last couple of weeks. 17th in starting pitching. 15th in the bullpen. Pretty just middle of the road. Not really great, not really bad. Adley Rutschman, Ryan Mountcastle, they're hitting really well. But other guys need to pick it up in Baltimore's lineup. Let's see, can the Orioles make some magic, man? They've been having some magic all year. Can they put together a little bit more, maybe get a wild card spot? This will be a big week for the Orioles coming up. At number 13, another team that is not completely out of it. We got the Milwaukee Brewers still hanging in there for that 3rd wild card spot, a game and a half out. Philly, right now, Philly, they're like Seattle. You know, they're a team that in control of a wild card spot. They're just not playing well when they need to, when they could just lock it down. But Milwaukee, they're hanging around right now, man. Milwaukee, they're getting some really good offense. Take a look here. 5th in WRC plus over the last 7 days. They're really getting it done. Colton Wong, Willie Adames, Hunter Renfroe, they're hitting well. They do need a little more, though, out of Christian Yelich, Rowdy Tellez, and Jace Peterson. They got to heat up. If those guys can get clicking, oh boy, that Brewers offense will just be nuts. Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, they've been good, but again, other guys need to step up here. Adrian Hauser, Eric Lauer, Aaron Ashby, they need to step it up here. The bullpen has been pretty lackluster. If we go take a look here, 23rd overall over the last 7 days. They need a little bit more out of that bullpen. But Milwaukee, they're not completely out of it, man. It's going to come down to the Brewers and the Phillies for that wild card spot. And coming in next, we got the Phillies. What the heck's going on with the Phillies? Schwarber hit a couple of Schwarber bombs yesterday. 2nd in Major League Baseball with 42. 1st in the National League. JT Realmuto, Alec Boehm, Matt Vierling, red hot lately, getting it done. Good offense lately. Hey, the Phillies, they're getting just these guys are hitting, and it's not translating to wins. That's the one thing with the Phillies is they have good numbers. The offense is doing well. The pitching is doing well, both in the rotation and in the bullpen. They're just not translating into a lot of wins. I don't know what it is with the Phillies. Not really a bad week overall. You know, they split with the Blue Jays and the Braves, but they're just not able to put their foot down here and just take control of that wild card spot. I think this is going to be the week. If they want to lock this down, they got to do it this coming week, man. They got to do it this coming week. But only up a game and a half of Milwaukee. According to Fangraphs, they still have an 86% chance of winning a wild card. So we'll have to wait and see what the Phillies end up doing. At number 11, just outside of the top 10, they are in my knocking on the door spot. The Tampa Bay Rays, swept by the Astros, but then they split with Toronto. Not a great week for the Rays overall. But the Rays, you know, they're still fine. They're in the 2nd wild card spot. But To me, I think Tampa is going to be fine. They're just hitting a not a bad spot lately. Just they're not playing as well as they could have. But the offense, they had a pretty rough time against the Astros. Not a whole lot of offense, but they did pick it up against the Toronto Blue Jays. We saw a little bit of life out of that offense. Wander Franco, he came back a couple of weeks ago, but he was removed from yesterday's game with a jammed hand or like a jammed finger. So Wander Franco, got to keep an eye on that. That guy's been hitting really well lately. But the starting pitching in the bullpen, they do need to pick it up a little bit lately. Pretty middle of the road, pretty lackluster for the Rays pitching lately. So we'll have to wait and see what the Rays end up doing this week. Let's get to the top 10, shall we? And at number 10, we have the Seattle Mariners. I mean, we're just talking about the Orioles here. Can the Mariners get this back on track? I mean, it's 4 games. I'm not saying it's, like anything, you need to jump off a cliff right now. But right now, the Mariners, they're just not playing great. And they just had the exclamation point with Kansas City, an 11-2 lead. Maybe finish off that trip, in a nice way. Not a great road trip overall. But and then they blow an 11-2 game. What the heck is going on there, man? That is just brutal. A tough week. They did have a win against the Angels, but then they lost 2 out of 3 to Oakland and then 2 out of 3 to the Kansas City Royals. The offense has been pretty good lately. And if we go take a look here, 12th overall in WRC+, but one guy I want to mention here is Jared Kelenic. This guy has been hitting really well lately. Take a look at what Jared Kelenic has been doing over his last 4 games, hitting .375 with a .444 on base, a homer, a couple RBIs. Man, good to see this guy hitting well at the major league level. He's been hitting AAA pitching really well, so it's nice to just see him just contributing to the Mariners, but they need more pitching. The starting pitching and the bullpen have both been up and down. We're going to have to wait and see, can the Mariners get this back on track? They got to fend off those Orioles, man. You got to fend them off. At number 9, we got the San Diego Padres winning 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals and the Rockies. Very good starting pitching lately. 2.45 ERA over the last 2 weeks. Manny Machado, Juan Soto, they've been red hot. The Padres just playing pretty solid baseball right now. Playing pretty solid baseball. Last week, they were at number 10, so I bumped them up a spot. And also the Mariners last week, they were number 8, and they dropped down to number 10. So got some movement here. At number 8, we got the Toronto Blue Jays splitting with the Phillies and the Rays this past week. They did score 18 runs against the Phillies on Thursday. The Blue Jays second in offense lately, and also Whit Merrifield. This guy's bat has just completely disappeared for what seems like a good year or two now. But he has been hitting pretty well, hitting .333 with a .368 on base and a .944 slugging with 3 homers, 6 RBIs. Teoscar Hernandez is hitting really well. George Springer's hitting really well. You got some other guys driving in some runs. Look at Jackie Bradley Jr. contributing something. Gotta love that. But the Toronto Blue Jays also getting some good starting pitching. 8th overall in starting pitching. Actually, if we go take a look at where they're at for the year, 8th overall. And if we take a look at where they're at over the last couple of weeks, Toronto 9th overall over the last 7 days. So good starting pitching. However, it's a bit of a question mark right now with Jose Barrios. What is he going to do in the postseason? Are we going to see him in the rotation? Are we going to see him in the bullpen? I don't know, man. Ross Stripling, I might feel a little better giving him the ball right now. We're going to have to wait and see, man. Jose Barrios, let's see if he can rack up a couple of good starts heading into the postseason. So, I don't know. Not a great year for Jose Barrios. At number 7, let's get to the AL Central champions, the Cleveland Guardians. Amazing. I mean, again, I will say this until I'm blue in the face. This past offseason, coming into this year, I saw Cleveland as a good team. A lot of people did not. They did not have good projections, but I'm looking at this team and I'm thinking, there's some good pieces on this team. You got some good pitching. You got some pretty good offense here. You got a good bullpen. I just saw a lot of good pieces with the Cleveland Guardians. I didn't think they were going to win the division, but I figured they would be hanging around for a wild card spot. So to see this team, man, winning the division, especially with a White Sox team like that, and especially with the Twins were looking really good. Good to see Cleveland, man. You got to love it. Last couple of weeks, they're 8th in offense. They have the best bullpen over the last couple of weeks. That bullpen is just nasty, man. And the rotation has been pretty decent. 14th overall, middle of the road. Shane Bieber continues to pitch well. Stephen Kwan, he has been red hot in his last 7 games. Jimenez and Naylor, they've been hitting really well. Cleveland, they just have a good thing going right now, man. And, kudos to them. Congrats to them winning the American League Central. Knocking on the door for the top 5, we have the New York Yankees. They are hot lately, sweeping my Red Sox, winning a couple against the Pirates, winning 6 straight coming into this week. They have a lot of momentum right now. They have the best offense in Major League Baseball over the last 7 days, a 174 WRC plus. They're hitting the ball extremely well. Let's go take a look at the Yankees. With the Yankees, you got Gleyber Torres heating up, and that's a big thing. When you got these other guys besides Aaron Judge heating up for you, I mean, it's like they ran through a rough stretch right there where other guys were just so cold, except for Judge. So to see Gleyber Torres really picking it up for them, that's a good sign. Oswaldo Cabrera is picking it up as well. Giancarlo Stanton, man, hey, this guy hit a bomb the other day, and my goodness, if this guy can just get going into the postseason, this is going to be a scary offense. You know, Donaldson's heating up. I mean, hey, look at Bader too. Bader contributing, playing some good defense out there. I really loved the addition of Harrison Bader. I think that's going to end up really helping them. But for the Yankees, one area where they need to start picking it up in is the starting pitching. Taking a look here with the Yankees. That's not the start. Actually, where are we at? Yankees. Oh, here we go. 18th overall. Not bad overall, but they do need to start picking it up a little bit more. Garrett Cole, he's given up 4 earned runs in his last 3 starts. He was ejected in the start against my Red Sox the other day. I don't know. Garrett Cole, it seems like maybe he's working through some things right now. He's a little frustrated with himself. Hopefully that guy, for his sake, for the Yankees, he can get his A game on for the playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see. But the Yankees are knocking on the door. Not quite ready to put them in the top 5. I had them at number 7 last week. I'm bumping them up 1 spot. Let's see if they can get into the top 5 for the next power rankings. So for the top 5, we have the St. Louis Cardinals coming in at number 5, splitting with the Phillies, winning 2 out of 3 against the Nationals this past week, 7th in offense, 6th in starting pitching, 3rd in relief pitching on the year. I just read the wrong stats. My goodness, I'm doing pretty terrible. I got all my notes right here. I can't remember all this stuff at the top of my head. The Cardinals, not a great week for the Cardinals. Tough week for the Cardinals. Padres, Dodgers losing both of those series, losing 2 out of 3. Paul Goldschmidt, Edman, Carlson, they are struggling with the bats lately. They got to pick that up. Montgomery has been struggling in that rotation. Pujols did hit his 700th home run, and I think that was kind of masking what was going on, with the Cardinals lately. Not great baseball. Hopefully they can get it back on track here. I decided to keep them in the top 5. I'm going to give them another week. Let's see if they can get this on track, but the Yankees are breathing down their necks for that number 5 spot. It'll be interesting going into the last power rankings. Can the Yankees overtake the Cardinals and get back into the top 5? We'll have to wait and see. But the Cardinals, they need to just start playing better. As simple as that sounds. Now, moving on to number 4, we have the Atlanta Braves, splitting with the Phillies, winning 2 out of 3 against the Nationals, 7th in offense, 6th in starting pitching, 3rd in relief pitching. Spencer Strider out for the regular season, should be back for the playoffs, has a strained oblique. But the Braves, hey, just playing pretty solid baseball lately. They're still trying to catch the Mets. And I'm wondering, man, with Strider out, I know you do got some other guys. You got Kyle Wright, you got Max Fried, you got Charlie Morton that are pitching well. You got Jake Odorizzi as well. I don't know. Losing Strider for the last couple of starts of the season, that could be tough for their chances of winning that division. They're only a game and a half out, so it's definitely doable. Absolutely, I think the Braves can do it. We're going to have to wait and see. The Mets have a bit of an easier schedule the rest of the way. I think that'll be a fun race down the stretch. At number 3, we have the Mets. The Mets are just playing really good baseball right now. They wrecked the A's on Sunday. They swept the Brewers this past week. Overall on the year, they're 4th in offense, 3rd in starting pitching. The bullpen 13th overall, but the bullpen over the last couple of weeks, 8th overall. So they're definitely they're pitching better. Pete Alonso, he is now the new RBI leader for a single season in Mets franchise history. The Mets just have a lot of good vibes going on right now. And for me, I have them in the number 3 spot. At the number 2 spot, we got the Houston Astros, 6th in offense, 1st in starting pitching, 2nd in relief pitching for the year. This past week, they split with the Orioles and they swept the Rays. Yeah, they swept the Rays. My goodness. My eyes are tired right now. The offense lately. They are killing it with the offense. My goodness. Or actually, sorry, no, they're not killing it with the offense. They're killing it with the starting pitching. Houston is just, their starting pitching is just so nasty. I mean, Christian Javier threw his third scoreless start. Framber Valdez is looking really good. Justin Verlander's looked good since coming back. Lance McCullers Jr. is looking really good. They're just getting some really good starting pitching. The bullpen is looking really solid. Taking a look at the bullpen, 8th overall over the last 7. Houston is such a good team. The Dodgers have been so good this year that I think it is kind of people are overlooking this Astros team. They're really good. I don't know what else there is to say. They could easily win that American League. We'll have to wait and see what ends up happening there, but they're going to be extremely dangerous in the playoffs. And at number 1, we have the Dodgers, best record in baseball on the year, 1st in offense, 5th in starting pitching, 1st in the bullpen. Last 14 games, they're 10th in offense. Justin Turner, Max Muncy, they both been hot. 2nd in starting pitching, just like the Astros, getting some really good starting pitching. Kershaw's been awesome. Urias, Anderson, Heaney putting in really good work. The bullpen, they're shifting over to a closer by committee approach, taking Craig Kimbrell out of the closer role. They got some good arms back there, man. They got some good arms. You are going to be getting Yency Almonte back soon, so that's even going to be more of a boost. Blake Treinen's still up in the air. We're going to have to wait and see what ends up happening there. But the Dodgers, man, they're just a really good team. Just a really good team. What else is there to say? The Dodgers, Astros, Mets, Braves, and the Cardinals rounding out my top 5. And rounding out the top 10, we have the Yankees, Guardians, Blue Jays, Padres, and the Mariners. Those are my power rankings for this week, everyone. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you think some of these teams should have been up higher, lower? Let me know what you think. But that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.